communication between rear and front. Just tell them I'm all right. As the war had raged from its outset against Egypt in the south and Jordan to the east, the Syrians in the north had opened up heavy artillery, mortar and machine gun fire against Israeli farms and villages in northern Galilee. These settlements had for 20 years been ceaselessly harassed by Syrian firing from the heights down into the valley, and heavy casualties and severe damage had been caused. For the first 3 days of the June War, the Syrians were answered with Israeli artillery and airstrikes. Their sorties into the valley were repulsed. On the fourth day of the war, the Israel Defense Forces began to move in the north. General Elazar, chief of the Northern Command, outlines the events. This is a mountainous area, rocky, craggy terrain. There are few roads for advance, and it's difficult to open new ones. The Syrians prepared this area during the last 20 years, following Soviet defense doctrines. They built several defense lines, each with long, deep trenches with overhead covers, concrete outposts, concrete shelters, incredible numbers of mines encircled by double apron fences. It was a perfectly fortified defense line. These heights completely dominated our territory. They dominated our settlements, and they dominated all the roads leading up to the heights. In fact, they dominated any possible locality where we could concentrate an attacking force. In military terms, this is considered an extremely tough mission, bound to cause heavy casualties. Our mission was to take the heights, to take them quickly, and to take them with as few casualties as possible. Syria was at war with Israel before the Six-Day War. The settlements were under constant threat. Disregarding the armistice, the Syrians often damaged the fields, and the settlements were constantly shelled by Syrian artillery fire. Our patrol units were never safe. The Syrians diverted the Jordan River waters and reached the peak of aggression when they sent terrorists and saboteurs into Israel. With Syrian fire continuing, on June the 9th, orders were given to attack the Syrian heights. It was a small force that stood ready. The plan was based on an attack looking like a wide frontal attack, whilst the main effort would actually concentrate on one breakthrough from north of Kfar Sold to establish a bridgehead on the heights, and from there carry on with the attack. We crossed the border at 11:30 a.m. The main thrust consisted of armored forces and infantry. A secondary effort was planned to open a new passage uphill and give the impression of a wide front. This force was to go up from Gonen. The third wave would take hold of the first outposts, thus maintaining the appearance of a wide front. The attack was carried out with heavy fighting against Syrian objectives. The armored force went up first, advanced to Kar and Zaura, was engaged by enemy tanks, fought against anti-tank guns, took fortified defense lines, and established a bridgehead on the heights. In order to save lives, and despite the craggy terrain, tanks were sent forward. Civilian bulldozers went up as well, often preceding the tanks to open passages up the hills. The battle was hard and fierce, but fighting momentum never slackened. Crews left their damaged tanks and fought on as infantry, all the while advancing upwards and onwards, inch by inch. The attack was based on tanks breaking through with air support, the infantry following up behind. This made the attack faster and fiercer and saved many lives. The infantry had the important role of fighting in the outposts, of fighting in the trenches and the bunkers, of mopping up the enemy to the last. The infantry widened the gap by taking Tel Azaziyat and Tel Fakhar. The fighting in Tel Fakhar was fierce. There were many casualties during 3 hours of fighting in the trenches. This was a day to hear the whining shells of mortars, to seek and find the strength to breathe. To find the strength to tear oneself from the shelter of the pits and rocks, to climb bare hills. The strength to withstand fire by day and by dark night. The strength to crawl beneath barbed wire, step over traps and mines, to storm the concrete trenches, never stopping despite grenades, never stopping despite 1,000 bullets. Going on, and never counting who was left of one's companions. By 2:30 that afternoon, Quneitra had fallen. Mission completed. We captured the line from Mount Hermon to Quneitra and down to the old border. The mission was completed in 27 hours. The Golan Heights were in our hands.
המשימה הושגה תוך 27 שעות.
Syria, our most fanatic and hostile foe, was defeated. Our Galilee villages could breathe again.